morning. Hi, and welcome to Coffee Talk Live. Coach Connie here with my special guest. I'm so excited to introduce him, Coach Peter Fisher, another New Yorker. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Hello. Awesome. I'm so excited about this conversation today. So, for anybody joining in, if this is the first time you've watched this show, Coffee Talk Live is my little talk show within my Strong as a Mother Fitness for the New York City Mom Facebook group, where I bring on special guests to share what it is like to live a sustainably healthy lifestyle in the home and in the community. So today I'm welcoming, like I said, other New Yorker. He's hanging out on the island. I'm hanging out in Queens. Peter Fisher is a New York City-based online fitness coach, just like me. And we're going to talk about some really cool subjects today. So before we get into it, Peter, what is in your cup today? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking something that's called City Roast.
City Roast. What coffee shop is that from?
It's something that I ordered on Amazon.
That's okay. Good coffee can come from anywhere, just like superheroes, right? Can come from anywhere.
You know, it has a job to be done, you know. It tastes pretty good. I happen to drink mine black, but, you know.
Is that how you always take coffee? Because I'm always impressed by those kinds of people who can drink their coffee black.
Black. You know, I'm fine with adding a little bit of cream or something to sweeten it up. This has more to do with my laziness in terms of having my kitchen stocked. It's like, I'll get to it. You know, it's just not high on my priority list. You know, I'm okay with bitter tasting coffee a little bit. It's hot. It tastes like coffee. It smells great. And you know, helps.
It does the job. Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Cheers. We're gonna have a nice little chat today. So awesome. Right. So today, let's dive right in. Today's conversation is really interesting. The conversation is about your mindset shift and working towards a healthier lifestyle, because what comes up a lot with my clients, just with moms in the neighborhood, with a lot of people that I know, is this idea of, I know I should work out, I know I should eat healthier, should be doing this, but there's a disconnect between what they know to do and what ends up happening. So the two missing pieces I've noticed is understanding how to change your thoughts to accommodate your goals, but more so learning how to uncover the why that drives you to successful change. So Peter is here to talk about the nerdy, awesome connection between walking and thought processes, and why it's so important to integrate movement to facilitate change. Now, we're doing this because also in the last year, so many of you have lost that commute. You've lost going up and down the stairs to the train, huffing it a bunch of blocks to get to your job, to drop your kids off, pick them up. So where you were normally maybe getting 10,000 plus steps in a day, you went down to getting almost none or very little. So Peter, I'm just going to let you off the leash and just go all the way into everything you know about this cool connection between walking and your mental health.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is a $64,000 question. Like, how do I get from here to here? Right. A lot of people like to think that, like, you know, when it comes to any kind of change, really, but you know, in this context, we're talking about exercise and fitness and weight loss and things like that. People tend to think that you know, oh, when I feel motivated, that's when I'm going to be able to do the things that I need to do. What actually happened or needs to happen is you get started, you start moving your body, and that's where the inspiration starts to come from, because you start, you know, feeling better about yourself and collecting some wins and so forth. What actually happens in the physiological process is, since we're biologically evolved to encourage life-sustaining activities, your body actually rewards you through movement. So what that means is, you know, once you get moving for like 5-10 minutes, your brain starts to release endorphins and you start to feel good. And then, you start feeling better. And then, you finish that bout of, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes of walking, it literally changes how your brain is functioning. And so what that means in more concrete terms is, maybe that makes you start feeling like you could be like more productive as a mom, a wife, at work. Maybe you start having thoughts about like, oh, maybe I'll have a salad for lunch instead of a burger, and those are the kinds of things that start happening when you do the thing rather than waiting for the motivation. Does that make sense?
So you have to create energy to kind of teach your body like, hey, we need energy. So then once you start moving, your body's like, oh, this is a thing we're doing. Let's start making all the wheels turn and the things happen. And then I remind you, like, I like moving. So here's a couple endorphins as bonus points.
Right. Yeah. Once upon a time, we all had to hunt for food. That's the only way we ate. And so now we live in a world where we can order it and have it delivered to our doorstep. And so we don't have to move in order to get food, right?
It's
so that
dangerous.
Kind of removes, but it removes the necessity of movement. And that's the disconnect that living in this modern world is. So now the question becomes like, how do we get started moving, right?
And I think in this context, like a lot of us who worked corporate jobs, worked office jobs, we were constantly being told like, get up, go to the water cooler, take a break, walk around.
It was already built into your day.
And it was also like, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know why. And you're like, I guess I do feel better when I get back down, or I can refocus. But let's keep going in and understanding why this is happening. So continue.
Why this is happening. Okay. Well, so, there's been research that shows that if you can walk at a pace of something like 1.7 miles per hour, this repetitive physical action actually allows your brain to sort of unwind and go from that fight or flight mechanism where you feel like crazy and charged up to a more relaxed and what's the word I'm looking for? Think kind of mindset where you can contemplate. So that's where having that movement allows you to physiologically function better. And really what we're talking about is helping your brain function better through better brain health. And you're not getting brain health by thinking different thoughts or imagining that you have to have more self-motivation or self-discipline. Those are kind of BS. Those are things that that people think that they need to sort of conjure up, when actually what they need to do is just find a time in their schedule that forces them to do a little bit of movement, and that stuff starts happening as a byproduct. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, so I didn't bring this up before, but you have experience in the acting world, in the acting film industry. So no, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay, all right, so, that's true. Many moons ago, but go ahead.
Everything feels like many moons ago at this point, almost. But so in TV shows, right? Where does the plot move forward when they're walking at a brisk pace and having conversations, going from one place to point A to point B? And I think some shows like 30 Rock even like satired this and was like, why were we walking in a circle right back where we started? And she's like, I thought you were going this way. And Peter's like, no, I was just following you.
The West Wing. If anyone's watched The West Wing, that's like, the walk and talk was the show, the thing on that show. Anyway,
but it's still that idea, like they're moving the plot forward, they're processing what's happened, they're deciding where to go next, and it's like we see this in television. There's something to it, and even like on a more visceral level, let's say you're recently scrolling through Facebook, you see something very inflammatory, something that gives you this really big stress response, and you feel like you're sitting there about to explode. So naturally your body's like, Connie, get up and go do something, go run around in a circle, like get up and move, just don't be still. So this is a physiological response to stress, but a lot of us just kind of sit in it and let it eat away at us. So that's my observation. What do you?
You know what? Your brain and your body don't distinguish between physical threat and mental threat. They view, so what you just described is, you know, like going through that doom scroll on Facebook and getting really, you know, fried is not that much. Your brain reads it as the same thing as if you were being attacked by a tiger, you know? So that means a release of adrenaline and cortisol, which puts your body's engine in the red, okay? And all of the blood in your brain gets shunted away from your prefrontal cortex, which is the decision-making processor of the brain, okay? So you're in that fight or flight. There's a reason why you can't think straight and you can't be your best. It's because your brain won't allow you to. It thinks it has to protect itself. It thinks it has to protect you and yours, basically.
So what are those protective responses usually?
Protective responses, well, you can't, so you're, oh boy, all right, well, let's go through it.
I mean, is that like I'm afraid, so like if your response to stress is eating, is that like
totally,
like, is that a common thing, or just shutting down emotionally, or
well,
you know, lashing
right.
out at other people?
So I mean, look, I mean, the physical responses are shorter breath, heightened heart rate, heightened blood pressure, all of these negative health consequences. And when you get into that state, your brain is just looking for a way to re-equilibrize, if I can say that word. It wants calm, basically. Mm-hmm. And the quickest way to calm is to grab something that it thinks will make you feel better, which might be food. Mm-hmm. And that might be why, you know, you go to the fridge and say, all right, I just want something to give my brain a little bit of a vacation, because I need to come down from this. Like there's something going on. I don't know what. So I need to find something to comfort me. And that's totally legit. It's totally legit that the brain would want to find a way to find its happy place.
Right. So for you, have you found that like walking is your preferred way to kind of process what's going on? Because you're all over the city. I see all the pictures. I feel like I'm getting like a tour of New York City when I see your posts on Facebook. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's one of the easiest go-tos for me. You know, I do have the flexibility where I can get up from my desk and my work and just say, you know what, I'm gonna go for a walk. Mm-hmm. And it helps me unwind the thoughts going on inside my head. You know, a lot of people like to think of, I don't know what you get as a response, Connie, but a lot of people look at, you know, that talk to me are like, oh, well, you're a health and fitness coach. You got it all figured out. Nope. I got my stuff that I need to work on. And I got, you know, I go through, you know, shocks and stress just like anybody else. And I have to take steps to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. Otherwise, I'm living in a really unhappy place. Right. And really, like that's the most important thing. It's like, you know, I want to get the most out of life, and I'd like to live most of it with happy things.
Yeah. So with me, with my stress response, I'm a classic like crawl into an incredible TV series and just numb myself, like
zone out. Yeah.
Not going to work, not going to process any of this. I'm just going to sit here and like get sucked into like the world of Outlander and watch this other female character like kick ass while I'm just sitting on the couch covered in as many blankets as possible.
Living vicariously.
Exactly. And I kind of just wait for that, like that inspiration to be like, all right, Connie, get off the couch, go do something. But what ends up happening for me is that my dogs need to go and they need their exercise. So, you know, to take care of them is usually my shift to get off the couch and to go outside. And then once I am walking them, they sleep better, they're more relaxed, I'm more relaxed, I enjoy the walk too. So that's kind of my catalyst, there's the word, to get myself moving. So I do have a question from one of the moms who are watching, and they asked like, what does 1.7 miles per hour feel like? Is that fast? Is it slow? Like, what does that feel like for?
Oh, sure. Nice, easy pace. It's the best way I can describe it.
So just like not strolling, not like leisurely, but like walking with intent.
Honestly, like No, just like, I mean, if you can nudge yourself a little bit, it will help speed the process. But if anybody gets on a treadmill at 1.7 miles per hour, it's not very fast.
Okay. So it's super casual. Because I think, like, I'm 5'10". I'm mostly legs, and walking for me on the treadmill is like 3.5, 3.6.
That's probably my pace too. I'm a fast walker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really important to remember that the object here isn't to get a workout, it's to move your body. It oxygenates your blood. It literally deacidifies the blood because it's getting all that carbon dioxide out.
Got it. So now let's talk about what the listeners can do to start integrating more movement and more walking. What would the first step be for you, like when you coach your clients and they need to start just integrating more walking and more steps into their day? What is your first thing that you coach them to do?
What I start asking about like, are there ways that we can build in tasks that you already need to do that will help get those steps as a byproduct? So we start with like, all right, so what are some things some tasks that need to be done, and how can we kill two birds with one stone, right? So okay, like I have somebody who she's trying to increase her step count, and so one of the things we talk about is like, okay, so what about getting to the grocery store? What about getting to the bank? What about doing some things that will give you an opportunity to do movement as a byproduct?
Yes, and a lot of times we've been trained to think as efficiently as possible.
Right.
So normally, like for me to get to the other side of Astoria, I get to the train, and then I have to switch and get over and take a couple of stops afterwards. But
totally.
if part of my goals are to integrate more movement into my day, walk. Right.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons I brought this up and I wanted to have this conversation with you is because neither of us are from New York by birth, and we know how awesome it is to be able to walk out our door and explore this city, because people come from all over the world just to do that very thing, and to kind of remind ourselves at how beautiful and special it is to live here is something that I wanted to bring up with you, because we get to live in such an amazing city for pedestrians, for walking, and you can make it such a special part of your day instead of it just being mundane and just going from your house to pick up your kids from daycare, or your house to whatever the grocery store is, but intentionally picking a destination that gets you the amount of steps or the amount of time that you want to exercise, with being able to enjoy what's here, because it's awesome.
I couldn't agree more. Shall I say anything about that? I mean, I think you've said it all right there.
I think I did say it all right there. So there's another really important.
Agreed.
Done. Moving on. One of the other things I wanted to hear from you about is kind of understanding the why and getting to our why. Why should we give a crap about moving more? Why should we give a crap about living healthier? So what are your steps? What are your suggestions on having somebody discover what their real deep why reason is?
Because if you don't, you'll always be living by someone else's arbitrary idea of what you should be doing. And then, and if you're living like that to serve your health and fitness goals, you will never really be engaged with those goals.
So how do you uncover someone's why?
Well, so first of all, it takes a willingness to dig. It takes a curiosity and growth mindset to understand that change is possible. And knowing that you're not stuck with where you are right now. You're just stuck with the ideas that you have had up until now. So it starts there, and then literally, your why if you start asking, all right, Connie, you want to, start working out more. Why is that important to you? And would you
to
like
role
to
play
respond?
this? Yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
let's do it.
All right.
All right, Connie.
Why do I want to exercise? Because I'm really tired a lot, and I know I get more energy when I exercise.
Okay. And why is more energy more important to you?
I feel like a zombie. I think a lot throughout the day. I really feel like I'm just living. I'm mainlining coffee all day just to function at a really basic level, and I don't like that.
And well, what's wrong with it? Why not keep doing what you're doing?
Because I noticed that like I'm really tired around my daughter, and I want to be able to like engage with her a lot more than I am now.
Okay. Yeah, totally makes sense. What's the great thing about engaging with your daughter more?
Well, I really want her and I to have a really good relationship with each other, and I want to be a role model for her. And someone who's just pounding coffee all day and dragging her feet and not really engaging that much isn't a really good role model, is it?
I don't know. I mean, that's for anyone to decide. But so you want to be a stronger role model for your daughter and be closer to her. What do you think happens if you are a better role model and connected with her more?
I think that she can grow up to have a better relationship with me and my husband, and she can have a better relationship with her body and her place in the world. A better life than I had growing up.
Amazing. Why do you think that's important?
I don't know. I think we got there. I think that's pretty deep already. I mean, if you go any farther, I'm going to start the eyes and the liquid coming out of them and stuff.
But listen, I mean, unless you go that deep and you get to a place where people can start saying, like, my philosophy or my core values in life are, what you're describing, which I'll go out on a limb and say what I heard, which is that it's really important that you give your daughter the best chance she can to be live a wonderful and happy life.
Yes.
And that's pretty powerful, right?
Core values is a good word right there. Is to getting down to your core values and being willing to actually start living them, because I think a lot of us put our core values aside in the name of survival for a while.
Absolutely.
But then we recognize that we're kind of deteriorating
right.
in ways that aren't good, and it's insidious into every element and aspect of our lives. And
couldn't agree more.
there's opportunities to start kind of going back. And if you don't have a coach, it can be hard to really continue to ask yourself. I mean, you can start asking yourself, why is this important? But if you don't have somebody there to remind you and to really hit the nail on the head and say, like, this is the point, this is what's going to keep you going forward, even when you don't want to do your workout, when you don't want to eat the food that you prepared, whenever you'd rather sit on the couch and Netflix, you have to find that really deep understanding and belief and be willing to actually do it. Because I find that what happens a lot when women are doing these 21-day cleanses, doing these short-term fitness challenges, is that they don't finish them.
Right.
And then they label themselves as a failure. And then the unhealthy habits repeat, and then they try a new challenge, and then they fail again. And they're just reinforcing this belief that they are failures. So they just continue waiting for the foot to fall for the next time they're going to fail. So having someone like you, like me, to say, hey, what if we actually start believing that we can achieve our goals, finish the things that we start, and have the lives that we deserve? Because it's so outlandish, right? If all we've been doing is convincing ourselves that we don't deserve it, to hear someone say, like, you do deserve to be happy. You deserve to eat pizza and not feel bad about it.
Yeah,
like,
I do.
Like, how dare you? Right? It's such an uncommon thing to hear, that I think you need more people in your life who do say those things. Like you and me.
Being in an environment that normalizes the behavior you just described.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a really big point right there. Yeah. So I think we touched on a lot of really cool stuff here today. And something that I always want to ask, I always want to hear is, what was the best purchase or thing you did for yourself during COVID, during the last year? Whether it's for self-care, whether it was an impulse purchase, but what was the best thing that really helped you level up?
Well, I think a simple answer would be, like, a week after lockdown, I ordered myself a 28-kilo kettlebell, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get to the gym, and I needed to have something. I need to have one piece of equipment that could do a bunch of different things. Like I refer to the kettlebell as like the Swiss Army knife of fitness, and because you can do a lot with it. So that was one thing that I did for myself, and I've used it very regularly. The paint's chipping off and whatnot. But yeah, that's something I did for myself.
That's you should have bought it and then invested in
kettlebell companies.
Is Strong First one of the kettle? No, they're different organizations.
Strong First.
Oh yeah, so I know.
And that's part of the reason why I got a kettlebell, is because I needed to finish my certification through them.
Oh wow, so you were productive during.
I mean, in many ways, but in a lot of ways. I also joined like 3 wine clubs like a month in. So.
Boy.
Hey, that's where, all the intro offers and whatnot. I was like, I'm getting on this bandwagon.
I want to see your Swiss Army knife kettlebell open a bottle of wine. Mr. The kettlebell can do anything. That's the video I want to see.
Fitness Swiss Army knife, not pleasure.
Yeah, fitting this bottle of wine into my glass, maybe. Oh my gosh. So that's such an awesome purchase, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. And I think a lot of us were trying to scramble and figure out what to do, and you nailed it.
Another big attractive quality to it. It doesn't take a lot of space. You can do a lot with it. So that was like, this is,
perfect.
Perfect. Don't even have to think about it.
Yes. Awesome. So we touched on a lot of really cool subjects. We discussed about how just moving at as simple as a 1.7 mile per hour pace, walking helps, release chemicals in our body and helps us process emotions and thoughts, and helps us literally and figuratively move forward. I think that the benefits of being able to walk in New York City, as well as anywhere that you're at, it's an incredible starting point for anyone who's looking to reintegrate exercise and movement, because it doesn't have to be 5 days a week, 2-hour-long workouts, right? I think you and I are in a group of the top 5% of online fitness coaches, and the common mentality is a little bit of movement goes a long way. So just finding somewhere easy to start, and what is easier than throwing on your sneakers, grab your kids if you need to, leave them at home if you can, take a walk, start moving, and then find someone to help you get to the life that you want and deserve. So, Peter, thank you so much for joining me today. Please tell us where we can follow and find you, and if you are looking, if you have positions open in your coaching program, tell us about what kind of person you are looking to coach.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, Facebook, I'm friends with Connie. Go to her friends list and find me there, Peter Fisher. That's where I do the majority of my presence. And in general, in my program, I look for those high achieving women who are looking to regain control and trust in their body, and all the while start losing 10 to 20 pounds over 3 months.
Excellent. So we will follow you. We'll find you. I will drop your profile link in the comment section at the end of class, or at the end of class. We're
at the end of class.
Fitness,
are we dismissing?
I'm fitness instructor before anything. Before the end of my super awesome pretend talk show. Excellent. So if you're watching the replay, please make sure you join Strong as a Mother, Fitness for the NYC Mom, and join in on the conversation live. These shows are every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern in my free Facebook group. Invite your moms, invite all the New Yorkers that you know that could benefit from an awesome group of like-minded mamas who want to see you win. So thank you so much again, Peter, for joining me. Everyone who's watching, stay strong, stay caffeinated, and I will see you in the city. Thanks so much, Peter. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.